Many different kinds of stones, and also particularly quartz crystals, are cut and carved into all kinds of different shapes. Perhaps the most popular shape is the more or less traditional crystal ball. Quartz is an extremely hard stone, about as hard as granite. What we would do is start with a chunk of crystal, and then using tools that are similar to woodworking tools, they have blades that have been embedded with diamond dust. The diamond will fairly slowly cut the quartz, and the way they'll make a ball like this is to take a crystal and cut a cube out of it with a table saw, and then cut off the edges, cut off the corners, cut off the edges, cut off the corners. Eventually you wind up with something that looks like a geodesic sphere. It looks like a crystal ball with faces cut into it. Once you have this roughly spherical shape, the crystal is going to be ground down against a belt sander or perhaps some kind of rotating lap tool, a flat steel plate. And that'll take the edges off and make it even more round. The magical part of this whole process is taking the crystal, once it's almost round, and putting it on a cup grinder. And a cup grinder is two separate cups that are spinning. These metal cups are spinning with diamond dust or silicon carbide dust. And as it spins, the ball is going to grind itself into a perfectly round shape. Now that's not the end of the whole process, because now you've got something that's perfectly round, but it has a frosty or a matted surface to it. You can't really see the interior. So now there's going to be lots more handwork involved, where the crystal ball is polished, again on a wheel or a belt, with different grades of grit. It's kind of like working with wood, except the grades of grit get finer and finer until you wind up with a polish that's about a 20,000 grit. Normally in woodworking you'd work with 100, 200, 400 grit, so you can imagine 20,000 or 40,000 grit is very fine indeed. The last stage of making the crystal ball is to glaze it, where it's rubbed against a cerium oxide grit that actually melts the surface just a little bit and makes it really smooth and really shiny. Now a little crystal ball like this weighs about a pound or perhaps a pound and a quarter, but the original crystal that it came out of probably weighed 10 pounds or more. So typically when you're cutting crystal balls, about 90% of the material is not used. It's cut away. And in the case of a large crystal ball, if the ball weighed 100 pounds, then the original stone probably weighed half a ton or maybe 1 ton or more.